Good morning and welcome to the Trading Wife on BTFD TV. I decided to make today just about the charts. I'm not on camera this morning. I didn't get a whole lot of sleep last night. Again, the West Coast trading for me has definitely been challenging with the time zone. But just feeling a little sleepy today. I didn't feel like getting my act together to get on camera, so didn't want to keep from giving you guys a good presentation this week. I think that this will work out nicely, and we'll just go ahead and take a look at the charts. Starting with the SPY, as you can see here, we broke out of the ascending triangle that I had been talking about for several weeks that had been building up in here. You can see that I have this line down pretty far, but when you shorten this a bit, you can see that. Maybe I'm screwing that up, but this up line here and this straight top line here broke out of that, and now we are definitely riding it. Put in a doji sandwich here on Monday, and that's the day that we broke out of this range and this ascending triangle that we'd been in for some time. Finally broke out of it. We'd been doing a lot of zigzagging. As I'd mentioned, there'd been a lot of whipsaw action so far this year. We had passed through the 50-day moving average a total of 13 times in only a little more than 4 months, and had passed through the 50-day moving average up and back only 7 times in all of last year of 2014. So there's been a lot of whipsaw action so far this year. We have finally broken out of this range here on Monday. This week is looking really nice, consolidating this right above this breakout area. Notice we've tested the breakout area and allowed the T-line, the ADMA, which is this red line, to catch up really nicely. Those of you who have followed me for some time know that I use this ADMA as my trigger line, as was first pointed out to Stephen Bigelow by his student Rick Sadler at the time. And I picked it up, and it has been a great indicator for me. I note that stocks, if you look at this red line here, tend to be above the red line. They tend to above the ADMA, they tend to go up, and when they drop below that ADMA, they tend to go down. Of course, we had all of this whipsaw stuff that made it really hard to trade in here on a swing term basis, but now I have confidence that we are definitely staying above this ADMA, and we're broken out of the range, and the 50-day moving average has a ways to catch up at this point. So we should have a nice little rally in the next few weeks once this has consolidated, which it looks like it has through today and this week. Let's take a look at the weekly chart. Weekly chart is a beauty, right? You can see this ascending triangle in here and this breakout this week. So really, really nice look on the SPY. Looking at some of the other indices, the Dow Jones Industrial Average. This is the Diamond, which is the ETF, the SPY. As SPY is to the S&P, DIA, Diamond, is to the Dow. And it's pretty much the same pattern, right? You have this ascending triangle, and we've broken out of it. So there was this little sort of cushion. I like to say a cushion or a mattress of resistance and support, and a zone of resistance and support, as it were, and we've broken through that as well. And this is on the weekly chart. So let's take a look at the daily on that one, and you pretty much see the same thing. And again, letting the ADMA catch up. The NASDAQ, the Qs, this was, while it was certainly whipsawing, was not the same pattern as the others. As you can see, it had already broken out of this top line and then lost it again. So we'll go ahead and take that out of there at this point. I think we can probably draw a line in here. That is our next level of resistance here. Still, we have a very nice candle going on here. This is a left-right combo. Yesterday's doji, a strong test of the T-line, a nice Marubozu candle today, engulfing that. And then we had these sort of W kind of patterns in here too that showed some nice bullish action moving higher. Looking at the small caps, the IWM was lagging for quite some time. I have a lot of these lines in here from prior levels. Again, making a nice move higher, allowing this ADMA to catch up. Looks like the ADMA has just crossed over. The dark blue line here, if you can see that, is the 50-day simple moving average. And as you can see, the ADMA is just crossing up over it. So that's also some bullish action there. Let's see what the weekly looks like on this. That's a pretty decent weekly chart. Just looks like it consolidated this move higher and is starting to put in a J-hook type pattern, or maybe a scoop pattern, if you call that a flat line, and a little scoop here. So nice looking indices in the market, look strong without overblowing it to the top side. So I think we have some room to go. They've consolidated nicely over the past few months. And, you know, market stocks can correct in one of two ways. They can consolidate pretty much going flat and going in a straight line as these markets did, right? Or they can go down. These have decided to consolidate in a straight line. This is the weekly chart, so it looks like it hasn't been as long, but you can see, right? Like, whoa. This was our consolidation or our correction of the move of last year, basically. I mean, it didn't really make a big correction down. It just kept consolidating as it got tighter into the apex of this ascending triangle, finally broke up out through it. So that's how this market chose to correct this time around, and I accept that fully, and have therefore put on a lot of more positions and am trading it accordingly. So let's take a look at some of the positions that I'm currently holding. Is this XIV. This is the short volatility trade, the opposite of VXX. Broke out of this top line here last week, and is continuing nicely, just sort of consolidating here, putting in yesterday's candle is kind of a doji, looking like a doji sandwich in here, putting in a nice consolidation after having broken out of this, allowing this T-line to catch up. Really nice look on the weekly chart here too. You can really see that breakout clearly on this weekly chart. So that's a really nice look there. Apple. Putting in here on the daily chart, putting in, is that a gap? Closed at 130.06 and opened at 130. So no, so this is a left-right combo. We have this doji followed by this bullish engulfing candle. If this candle had opened above where this had closed, then it would be a trader's best friend, or a TBF as we abbreviate it in the chat room. That's a term that was coined by Stephen Bigelow to describe a doji followed by a gap up. Dojis tend to denote indecision. And so the move after a doji tells you what that decision is and which direction stock is going to move. The other thing about Apple is we have so many folks out there right now saying how cheap this is. So I plan to hold this longer term, and intend to keep it for some time and see how that does. I have a feeling that it's getting ready. It's been consolidating again really nicely in here, tightening this up, and I think that it's probably going to get up to that top line and make a new move to the upside. STM, this is the French semiconductor company. Those of you who know that my husband's a fundamental analyst, he's been really bullish on this. I like the way this has popped back up through the ADMA. A couple days ago, this ADMA popped through the 200-day moving average, which is a bullish move. Yesterday was a TBF, although it's hard to say on charts like this. The reason we see all these gaps in here is because it's a French company, so it trades on the euro. So it you know, its money's on the euro. So what we're seeing is currency changes in the currency relative to the US dollar, the euro relative to the US dollar. So those gaps don't really mean anything. I think it's more important to check out the patterns, certainly keeping a look at these moving averages. These there's big pocket of volume here. coming back to, this sort of went up so fast, right? And then it consolidated, put in a double top, fell, put in a morning star bottom right here, started to move higher, and then finally popped through that ADMA and started to consolidate. So this is looking fine to me. This is another one that my husband is bullish on, so I'm going to hold that as long as it keeps on its bullish trajectory here. PEIX, this is an ethanol stock. Had put in a beautiful belt hold candle here, and then this beautiful move higher through the 200-day moving average. It had since consolidated that. When I got into this, I believed that this was crunching this ADMA with the 200 and was going to pop up back through to the top side. It hasn't done that. I'm still holding this. And I'll show you this weekly chart, and you can kind of see why I'm still holding it. This week's candle is nothing more than an inside candle of last week's candle, and it's holding the 8-week T-line, the 8-week exponential moving average, and is still in an uptrend. So this is another one that my husband happens to be bullish on. One of the things that's been smacking it down these last couple days is a drop in ethanol prices overall. Corn has also been going down, so there seems to be some misunderstanding about how this works. When corn prices are low, ethanol logically ethanol companies get higher margins. They pay less for the product it takes to make the product that they make. So, or the ingredient that they need to make the product they make, which is corn, and they make alcohol from corn, which is ethanol. And so when corn goes down, the price of corn is low, they actually make more money because their margins are higher. But the main thing I think is going on here is that ethanol prices in New York, where they base those prices, have been going down. However, this is a California company. Their market is California, not so much the rest of the country, not so much from New York. And for those of you who live in California or have spent any time here, the price of gas here, if I can find a gas station that has $3.50 for unleaded cheap gas, that's the cheapest. That's cheap. I'm stoked if I can find that, because most of our gas stations are close to $4. And I think for the rest of you, gas prices are a good dollar lower. So gas prices are a good 30% higher here in California than they are in the rest of the country. So I believe that this is false as far as from a fundamental perspective. And since it is still sort of in this pattern here, sort of descending wedge on the daily, and since it is holding this weekly 8 EMA, I'm going to go ahead and hold it. If it loses this weekly 8 EMA and closes below that, I will dump it. I'll call uncle. But I think that it's still in an uptrend. It's still holding this 8-week EMA. I think it's doing okay. So for now, I'm hanging on, and we'll see how it does. XPO. This is a chart that I got into the other day. I really liked the way it sort of did this flat line and then curve here like a scoop pattern. You could also maybe call it a J hook, depending on if you pull it out. It probably looks more like a J hook because it comes up and then it comes, scoops down here, and put in a doji at the bottom here. Is that actually? That might actually be a legitimate morning star. Is it $3.55 per gallon in Florida? I'm surprised to hear that. Maybe it's just like, no, because New York, it's not. New York, it's $2.50 something. And because I was asking that yesterday, how much is the price of gas for everyone? And it's lower for most people. It's around $2.50, $2.60 for most people. Both. Who else? Who was it that answered yesterday? Raj? I want to say Coach, who's also in Florida. So that's, maybe it wasn't Coach. Who else would it have been? I almost want to ask that question. Oops. I meant to look that up, actually. Oh, for goodness sakes. let's see. Oh, I guess it was Doug saying that it was about 250 in Colorado, and then it was Raj saying it was 260 in wherever he is. I forget. I'm sorry. I apologize. Is it somewhere in the Midwest? Michigan, Minnesota? I apologize. Anyway, it doesn't matter. But for the most part, gas here is higher than other places. I know that in New York, my friends that came out from New York were really, really surprised that gas was $1 more here than it is in New York. Yeah, it's a messy flag, but it's definitely a kind of a flag. Even kind of an at this point, this smaller bit, you could say there's an ascending triangle here, right, with this flat line on top now, and this line going up on the bottom. Certainly, it's a very nice looking chart, and let's take a look at that on the weekly. Weekly looks great. I mean, that really looks like a little flag in there, right? Consolidating to the 8-week EMA after having made this move. So nice chart. Gonna hold on to that one. Another one I got into a couple days ago is QUNR. This one's doing really well for me, breaking out of this line that I had put in when I got in. I liked this left-right combo, how it had moved through the ADMA, how it had dipped below and then come back up through. It sort of had made a sort of like a double W kind of shape in here. It's messy, but it's you have the if I put this on like an hourly chart, I'm thinking I'll probably see that better. Well, not really. But I think you all see what I mean, right? Kind of a double bottom-ish kind of thing going on there. Boom, boom, right? And then broke out of that. It's breaking out of that nicely today, actually. I got in over here when it was putting in the bullish candles and was pushing through the ADMA, and it's following through really nicely. Let's take a look at the weekly chart. Again, I think I would do this. On the weekly chart, I have a TBF, which is nice here. Definitely a TBF going on there to Trader's Best Friend. So nice looking chart. Again, doing really well for me. Up almost 6%. So that's nice. And then the last one in my port is AMCX. Listen, guys, this is the last one in my port, and I'm going to go through some of the ones I have on my scan. But if there's anything you would like me to chart specifically, please go ahead and type it up into the chat room. I'm going to go ahead and check Twitter to see if anybody has contacted me there to ask for anything in specific. Nope. Nobody's asking. Okay, no worries. We'll just go on with what I've got here. So this AMCX also doing really well. Had this sort of scoop pattern with definitely more of a flat line in here, and then it popped up but scooped down and then back up. So I like the way this is moving. I like the way this is continuing here. Sort of dojis into the bottom and then back up through this ADMA. And the ADMA also pushed up through, is now pushing up through this 21-day moving average. So that's nice to see. When I look at this on the weekly chart, again, I've got another TBF in here, right? Another Trader's Best Friend. So really nice test of this 8-week EMA, little J-hook pattern in here from this rise. Nice chart there. Okay, so I have a couple scans over here. One of them is this tight J-hook scan that Goofy Golf, Gigi in the chat room had shown us. I have to figure out the right one. That's the right one. So there's Vivus. Brought this one up yesterday as well. Nice little J-hook pattern here, kind of almost a cup and handle in here. Yesterday's candle created a doji sandwich in here with this doji in the middle, continuing higher from there. Not quite breaking out of this top line. It started to earlier today, but it's pulled back below it. That doesn't mean it's not going to. I think that it likely will. It's just still consolidating and working on that resistance. We have the ADMA that crossed up through the 50-day moving average yesterday, so that's bullish as well. This ADMA is crossed over all of these moving averages, the 21, the 34, and the 50, so that creates a rounded bottom breakout, one of Rick Sadler's terms for this move, and the likely move then is to this 200-day moving average, which is, let's see, 50 cents. That's about 20% to the 200-day moving average. I guess I lost some of these other ones I had on here. What happens is, as I rerun the scan, some charts that may have been up here before will go away because perhaps they've pulled back or they're no longer fitting the criteria that's part of this J-hook scan. But I do have them listed, so we'll take a look at those anyway. MGA, I mentioned as well this morning, really nice J-hook in here, breaking out of that top line. Really, really nice looking chart here. The ADMA is sitting about 56, the low of the day at 55.72. So that's a pretty easy risk reward, $1.50 risk on 57. If you were to put a stop below that, you could even go below the absolute low here, which is definite support, 54.83. So that's only, less than $3 on a $57 stock. It's about 5%. To the downside, and lots of potential to the upside. So I think this is a pretty good chart if you're looking for something else to get into. Easy risk reward there. NG was on here earlier. You can see today's candle has pulled back a bit, but this is still a really nice looking chart. That's a Morningstar signal right there. 2 days ago, put in that doji with a gap on both sides. So this is a true Morningstar signal, not just one of these Morningstar families. And the fun thing here is too, we have this definite like long-term resistance. So take a look at this weekly chart. I had drawn this line in there, and you can see this like, right, really long-term resistance. So if that's the 200 week there, the light blue. So I think if it pops through that, we've definitely got a nice move. It may need to do some work still before it gets through that, but I definitely feel that it's trying to make that move. We have these two candles that already attempted that, then it pulled back and started creating this J-hook pattern. So it looks to me like it's just consolidating this move here, and we'll continue to try and break through that. Definitely one to keep on watch. So a lot of the other stocks I was mentioning earlier, the oil stocks are all looking good. I just happened to notice this over on my volume surge scan here. Doji's bottom here, not really a Morningstar, but certainly a doji bottom and a doji yesterday, and now pushed through the ADMA. Burlington Stores J-hooking here. I really like this pattern. It's not a full J-hook yet, but it's definitely turned that corner, and it's J-hooking, as it were. This is a nice looking pattern, easy risk reward, still really close to the ADMA, or you could use these lows here for true support, although then that's a little bit far for a stop. $55 stock, a $50 stop is 10%, so almost 10%. So that's kind of a high, but you could definitely use today's low or the ADMA if you were interested in this one. I'm just noticing that I have some nice ones over here coming up. A lot of these are the oil stocks. Here's another oil stock. What's this? CRZO and OV. So I have these scans that I've got going over here. This is my volume surge scan. I did have some nice, there was a lot of nice oil stocks on here earlier. Oh, this is an interesting one. Oh, I'm on the weekly chart. Oops. Need to move back to the daily here. Okay, so there's the Mobileye. Nice looking chart here, pulled back and pushing back up through that ADMA. But back to these oil stocks, BP, Morningstar-ish, certainly a TBF through the ADMA, and looking to break out of this top line here likely. As we keep coming up here through these, what does Joy Global look like? Oh, look at that, trying to pop through that ADMA there. NFX, another oil stock on a run. This was in another oil stock that I remember, definite Morningstar type bottoms, double doji Morningstar, whatever you'd want to call that. I guess that's probably the Morningstar family, pushing through the ADMA and heading towards that 200. CNX was another one we had looked at. Really nice hammer bottom, pushing through that ADMA. A lot of nice oil stocks in here. Was this another one? Yeah. ESV. A lot of these have that same look, right? They've corrected and now they're pushing back up through. What is NG price breakout? It is 424, above 424. So if it pushes through 424, it'll break out. So you could put a buy stop 425, 426 probably, and that would be a nice area. Okay, so for Lance, some requests here. UNP. Wow, that's certainly interesting, isn't it? Has taken a big leg down, obviously, continued down on this line here. You could even see it, right? And continues to be in this descending, very large descending wedge pattern. But that's certainly a strong candle today. And it has this Morningstar doji bottom. That's definitely Morningstar, true Morningstar with a gap on either side. And it's currently pushing through the ADMA. I would say that this definitely needs to get back above this trend line, this down. It needs to break out of this wedge before it becomes a decent trade here. On the weekly chart, well, it looks the same, doesn't it? Isn't that trippy? But again, same thing, like it needs to break out through that line there. You're welcome. So another one we talked about is CS that you asked for. Credit Suisse. So this has all those gaps in there because of the currency. But definitely a bullish pattern in here. Look how it bottomed here. It was one bottom, kind of a double bottom candle, right, with two candles in here, and then came up higher, pulled back again, and then is now pushing higher still. ADMA has pushed. Is that above the 200 there, or the 50? As of today, yes. So you have a lot of bullish things going on here. Came back, tested the T-line. T-line has now pushed through the 50-day moving average. I think this is pretty easy risk reward with a stop below the T-line. Certainly, if you wanted to use this support level of 26.15, that's still not a bad risk reward, right? You're looking at about 60 cents on this, or 70 cents on this $26, $27 stock. So that's still pretty easy risk reward to put a stop under here. I think that, well, I don't buy beer by the gallon. Might drink it that way though. I think that that's a really nice looking chart. Let's take a look at it on the weekly. Great looking weekly chart, right? Pushing through the 200 week moving average, supporting on the ADMA. And this weekly chart, you don't see the gaps from the currency as much, right? So overall, this is a really, really nice looking weekly chart, nicely curved J-hook pattern in here with this Morningstar on the bottom. Not a true Morningstar, but certainly in the family. You have the 8-week EMA also crossing up through the 50. Really, really, really nice here. Really nice. I think that this could be a really nice trade and possibly an even longer term hold here. You do have maybe, I don't know, that doesn't really work. You could do this, I guess, but that's not the kind of resistance I would be concerned about it getting through. I think that you can get in here for an early entry, an easy risk reward, or you could wait till it gets to the top of that, I guess. That would be above 27, which isn't much higher. So could certainly would be reasonable to say you wanted to wait to get up there. I'm going to look up real quick, or unless somebody else wants to, what are it should list by state gas prices somewhere, right? Gas prices by state. Because I had understood that we had the highest prices. So I am surprised to hear that it's so high in Florida. Let me go to the bottom here. Okay, so California average is currently 3.796. Next below that, where's Florida? Where's Florida? So this is telling me gas prices in Florida is 2.659. 2.659. Is it possible that it's come down, Gigi, since you last looked? I'm seeing California average at 379, which is what I see when I go out here. Next below that, I have Nevada at 330. Next below that, I have Hawaii at 3.27. And that's insane, right? Hawaii should be more than California. We're on the mainland. Why is it more in California? Oh, yes, taxes. Sorry, forgot. And Hawaii, like, you still expect them to have the higher taxes. Everything has to be shipped over there. Hawaii has lower gas. That's infuriating. Alaska, just below that at 323. State of Washington at 3.037. State of Oregon, 3.030. State of Utah, 3.004. And state of Illinois, 2.872. And it goes down from there. The lowest state being South Carolina at 241. New York, let's find New York on here and see what it says for New York. New York at 285. So that's, that's about what I was hearing. 285 in New York and 379.6, 380 here. So that's almost $1 difference. Yeah, I'm really not sure. This is this is usually a pretty accurate site. Has current gas prices. Let's see, here's AAA as well. This is, I'm just going through this because I'm so curious at this point to see this. National average prices, current average 273. And by state, the same thing. Has California, no, this one has Alaska actually at the top. No, it's not by price. I see. No, California's at the highest at 379. This is the same list. And it's showing me Florida at 266. So this is from AAA. This is their fuel gauge report. And this is, as of today, updated May 21st, 2015. So I think you may need to go out and have a talk to your local gas station proprietor there, Gigi, and find a different gas station to go to because you're paying too much. As we all are, but we live in California, and that's par for the course here. So just looking at a few of these that I see on this. Oh, one of the ones I was talking about earlier. I want to take a look at that, actually. This Habit. This is a burger joint. I think this is mainly a California burger joint, kind of a higher end fast food. Not as good as The Counter, which is not really fast food. The Counter is more of a burger restaurant. And they use all local, sustainable, grass-fed beef and so forth at The Counter. I don't believe that's the case here at The Habit. I wish that they did. But this IPO'd back in November, and it's got such a nice curve going in here. And then made this move up, consolidated it with another sort of curve J-hook pattern in here. Looking at this weekly chart, you can really see this curve. It's just so nicely curved, and I think that it could definitely make a run. Certainly up to swing high of 44.20 and possibly more than that. So currently at 38.78, that's a nice move. I'm actually considering putting this one on. So I do really like it. And the other thing that I would consider might be one of those crazy good looking oil stocks that are definitely, what was the one that was SRL? What was that one that I saw this morning? One of the ones I saw that was so nice. Oh, is it? No, that's not it. That looks pretty decent too, though. Let's see, let's get up here. Oh, Yoku, I remember Yoku looking really nice. So let's take a look at that. Big breakout here on Yoku, right? After definitely made this J-hook pattern and broke out with this doji bottom, kind of a morning star, came down and touched the ADMA and then broke out of that. Rig, another one of these oil stocks pushing through the ADMA, is also around the bottom breakout, has some room to the 200-day moving average. OAS, I have these lines in here from previously, but certainly also trying to push through multiple bunched up moving averages. Oh, SDLP, no, SDRL, this was the one that I really thought looked nice. You have this sort of doji and then this funky candle next to it, which is kind of it's such a small body. It's not really a doji. It's not really a spinning top because it has such a small, because the body's big compared to its wicks, but it's such a small body that clearly this was not a correct signal of the doji followed by the red candle. It was not a sell signal because today it just gapped up and pushed right on through that ADMA. Just fun to sort of go through some of these on this. This is the volume surge scan. So here's this TEDU flag breakout or descending wedge, I guess, depending on what your eye sees. Gigi said he felt it was more of a flag than a descending wedge. 6 1/2 a dozen, I think. But certainly a descending pattern that was bullish and broke out. So nice there. DLP, is this another one of the gas ones? Oh yeah, see, this is another nice looking gas stock in here. And again, you have this sort of, line that this broke out of in here, broke that out of that today, as well as pushing through the ADMA. So last couple of candles were doji-ish, hammer-ish, inverted hammer-ish, and then I'd say yesterday's candle definitely an inverted hammer and a gap up from there through the ADMA. Really nice looking chart here. A lot of these oil stocks are some really nice looking charts. UWTI. Oh yeah, look at that. Nice chart here. I guess you got into this since you're rooting for it. This is a 3X crude chart. Really nice. Oh, I didn't see that. There's that doji and the gap up TBF today, following a lot of those other oil stocks. Really, really nice chart. Where'd you get in, Gigi? Really nice. ADMA is 357, currently at 369. Could still easily be gotten into. Still easy risk reward here. Plenty of volume, tons and tons of volume. So yeah, this is definitely. Look at all that room to the 200 too, because you've got this rounded bottom breakout, right, with the ADMA above those other moving averages. What does this look like on a weekly chart, I wonder? Because that's an interesting, see, that's really cool, right? That's not a bad looking chart on the weekly either. It really looks like it's bottomed. It's holding above this 8-week exponential moving average. I had put in a doji sandwich over here. Definitely, this is definitely one that I think, it's a 3X, so it has leverage on it. So placing a hard stop would probably be prudent here, either below that 8-day moving average or the 8-week moving average. But placing a hard, or today's low, perhaps 351 could be okay. But definitely, I think that putting a hard stop on something like this that is a leveraged 3 times ETF, the way oil has gone, as you can see, quite whipsaw. You could easily get hurt in something like this. I'm not much of a cowboy. I don't tend to take a lot of big risk on stuff like this. I think some of you men out there really like to be a little bit more cowboyish, more risky. as a woman, I tend to be more risk averse. So probably not something. I might take a half size position in here and place a hard stop, but I would certainly be careful. But the pattern looks great. Looks really great. Oil futures pushing $2 at 192. Right on. Okay. So look back again at the SPY here. It's looking great. Pushing higher. I bet XIV is too. Yeah, look at that. Now a left-right combo, so that's really nice. When I go to I like to sometimes also look at the index itself, the S&P. So here's that S&P. It had that ascending triangle that it broke out of, and it's holding that breakout. So really nice. UWTI is an island bottom. Daily chart is an island bottom. Well, I don't really see that. But I believe you because you are the island bottom man. You are the island bottom man. Yes, I know how you like bottoms. I don't see the island bottom here though. Oh, is it here? Is this where you're? No, not high enough. See a gap here. Nope, sorry, I don't see it. but I do believe you. Don't see it on the weekly either, so I don't know. Unless it's that doji. Is that no? Because that's not a gap up from there. Don't know. Don't know where your island bottom is, but I do believe you. If you say it is, then I guess it is. I don't see it though, so I can't really show that to the folks at home. Oh, here is your island. This is your little island here. Gotcha. It's a very small island. It's kind of like one of those, it's kind of like Gili Mino. I spent time in Indonesia on the Gili Islands off of Lombok to do some scuba diving. And there were 3 islands, Gili Trawangan, Gili Mino, and Gili Air. Gili Trawangan is the biggest island. Gili Air is the next one. And Gili Mino is where they hold the full moon party. And it's a tiny little island. And just to give you some perspective, Gili Trawangan being the largest of the islands, you can walk around the entire island in an hour. And I believe Gili Air, you can walk around the entire island in 20 minutes. So Gili Mino is smaller than those. There are no motorized vehicles on those islands. They move tanks. They bring things on by boat, and then they move tanks and stuff with horse and buggy. So they're pretty cool. Some pretty cool little islands. I think they're smaller than Gilligan's Island, actually, as I think this one is. It's a tiny little island, but I got it. I see you're definitely an island bottom. So right on. This has a lot of gaps in it, but it's not affected by currency changes, right? Because that's what I think an island bottom would not be very telling, but I don't think that this is. I think this is just falling crude, right? So that's very cool. Yeah, I might put a half upsize position on here just to keep risk lower, but really nice. I guess you must have got in there because you're excited about 371. So it's Gilligan's Island. Okay. All right, kids. I think on that note, I'm going to call this the end of today's webinar. I'm the Trading Wife. You can check out my website, thetradingwife.net, www.thetradingwife, all one word, .net. You can follow me on Twitter at thetradingwife, and you can send me an email, which I would be very happy to respond to. It's thetradingwife@gmail.com. Oil is trading 24 hours a day. Oh, right. Oil is trading or futures are trading? I don't know. I don't know how that works. I need to maybe look into that a bit more. In any case, there it is. I hope you all have a great day and good trading out there. Remember to keep your risk and reward ratio in line. You always want to risk less than your potential reward in order to stay in profits. Keep those odds in your favor. Have a great day, everyone. Bye-bye.